Hello, everybody. Today, I would like to continue my series on the question how to do restructuring in Germany. So last time we spoke about the announcement day, and the beginning of the negotiations is always a bit rough. The Works Council is in a state of shock. It feels insecure and is in need of help. So allow the Works Council to bring in his lawyer as soon as possible. It also helps you to accelerate the negotiations. So once you are in a steady state with the Works Council, meaning that you have set a regular meeting calendar with the Works Council, you can also, and you should, set an end date. I typically do that in the beginning, that I tell them there is going to be an end date, which is probably in 3 to 4 months from now. It shouldn't be an unrealistic early date. So it doesn't make sense to say we will be done in 1 month, but also you should not delay everything and set an end date, which is 8 months from now. So 3 to 4 months is a good end date, and it serves as a psychological anchor. And then you should start again with the business case. Yes, the Works Council has heard it on the announcement day, but you need to be repetitive over and over again to give them the feeling they have understood the business case. They don't need to agree with the business case, but at least you should give them the feeling that all questions are answered. And this can take a couple of days or weeks. If you bring in the balance of interest, which is the first document that needs to be signed at the end of the day, you can easily explain the impact of your measure on the workforce. So the typical balance of interest has a description of measure, more or less in detail, but it has definitely the detailed impact on employees and departments. Best is to show it in form of orga charts, where you show the effect of the restructuring before and after. And the balance of interest should include a timeline. For example, do you want to close down a business in a big bang form or in installments? Be aware that the business rationale and the balance of interest is a sort of iterative process. So the Works Council might go forth and back, and maybe they are running out of questions, which is a good moment for you that you are handing over the social plan, which is obviously a draft. From your perspective, it should show the minimum in the beginning so that you have a buffer to add more to it. What do you need to consider when you draft a social plan? Well, it probably starts with the severance pay, the formula for severance pay. I'm a fan of multiplying factor. I don't like the dividing factors because nobody understands what the effect is. But the multiplying factor, meaning the monthly salary times years of seniority, and the factor is an easy factor to understand. Here, you need to think about who do you want to favor. It's absolutely okay to differentiate between age groups so that elderly employees receive a higher amount of severance pay plus their seniority than younger people, because the elderlies probably have a higher risk of being unemployed than younger people. And it's also okay to differentiate between normal employees and employees close to retirement. The latter group, employees close to retirement, are those, say, at an age of 57, 58, that you could treat differently by offering them a package through a transfer company and maybe also receiving unemployment benefits. You also need to consider the calculation basis for the severance pay. It makes a huge difference between just calculating on the base salary without anything or the annual salary all in divided by 12. So do your calculation correctly and know what you offer. The same applies to the reference date for age, seniority, and the salary. Initially, you might want to plug in a reference date that is in the short future of when you start the negotiation. Typically, it ends up to a much later date, which could be the same date for everybody or an individual date, meaning the exit date for each and every employee. My personal main negotiation point is a cap, which doesn't mean that we cap everybody at a very low level, but I'd like to get some volume for the budget back by having a cap that more or less caps down about 5% of the employees affected. So you need to calculate that once in a time. Then you need to think about allowances for kids and handicapped people. The allowances obviously will differ depending on the number of kids and severely handicapped employees. So this concludes my comments for today. And I will continue on other negotiation points, such as a voluntary leave program, next time. If you have questions or comments, please contact me. Stay tuned, and thank you for listening.